Lowe's knows how to help make your Super Bowl 59 party a touchdown. Let us help you prep your home to host with top brands like Charbroil, Blackstone, and LG, so you can be the MVP of game day. Plus, use the Lowe's app to find what you need for a seamless shopping run. Or huddle up with our Lowe's Red Vest associates to help make all your game time hosting decisions.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to this episode of True Crime Time for Tuesday, January 28, 2025, and I'm Woody Overton.
I'm Cyndi Overton.
We're back in the saddle again.
Giddy up.
Yeah, giddy up. And I'm probably, we're pre-recording this, y'all, and I'm probably in the throes of...
Wasted away.
No, we're killing a lot. We're eradicating the feral hog population.
It is bad.
It is bad. They destroy everything.
Yeah.
People just don't get it. Maybe people live in the cities and stuff. Like, you have a 5-acre field where, farmers raise hay and shit like that to feed their animals and stuff like that. And I could get on the big tractor with the big disc. You got to plow the fields when you plant them, right?
Right.
And I could ride all day. I could ride 2 days on the tractor and not do the damage they do in one night to the field.
Exactly.
Which makes it unusual. It makes it tears up equipment and everything else. But they eat plants and trees.
Mm-hmm.
They rooted out my parents' sprinkler system in the front yard.
Yeah.
It's crazy. But anyway, that's what I'll be doing right now.
Yeah.
Let's get down to some true crime time. Taco Tuesday.
All right.
Lay it on them.
Speaking of like wild hogs, right? Mm-hmm. And we know you're not going to get brucellosis this year.
Nope.
Hogs they do this, but deer run out in front of cars a lot, right?
Shit, hogs do too.
And that's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
Hogs do get close, but I saw on the way to Walmart today a dead deer on the side of the road.
Yeah. Well, you hit a deer in my truck.
And right, exactly.
And I'm very, very conscious of that. I've told y'all and my kids, right at dark and right on sunrise, you got to watch the ditches because they jump out in front of you, right? And I drove all 16 hours back from Wisconsin through the most populated deer states and everything, and being very, very careful. And I was slowing down to turn this driveway at our hunting place. Like, literally, my blinkers on, I'm getting ready to turn, and the damn deer ran in front of my brand new truck.
Yeah.
I hit it.
And you called me and you're like, guess what happened?
Brand new truck.
Brand new truck.
Yeah.
When I hit the deer, I did a rookie mistake when the deer ran out in front of me, several across the street, in front of me, and I missed it. And so then I just kept going, not that straggler.
One. Yeah.
So I did the rookie mistake that I wasn't waiting for that straggler to come. This story is about a Georgia fire chief who was shot dead after stopping to help a couple who hit a deer with their car.
Oh, God.
A Georgia fire chief has been fatally shot after stopping to help a couple who struck a deer with their car in Alabama. Coweta County Babylonian Fire Chief James Bartholomew Cothan was found dead and 2 others injured with gunshot wounds in the Stout neighborhood at around 5 p.m. on Sunday, January 19th. This is according to the Chambers County, Alabama Sheriff's Office. Police were responding to a traffic accident involving a deer when they found the 3 victims. Early investigation indicates that Chief Cawthon was attempting to assist individuals that had struck a deer.
Just trying to help them.
Yep. On County Road 267. According to authorities, local resident William Randall Franklin opened fire on Chief Cawthon and the individuals that struck the deer. So Chief Cawthon succumbed to his injuries prior to deputies arriving on the scene. It's very sad. The 2 injured individuals were transported by helicopter to LaGrange and Columbus trauma centers in Georgia. An update from the sheriff's office revealed that Cauthen was 54 years old and was from Moreland, Georgia. They said, our hearts and prayers go out to Kawatha County for his loss. Investigators believe that Cauthen had helped the couple after noticing their vehicle and injured deer when leaving his nearby property. The fire chief and the driver were unable to call for help due to poor cell phone service in the remote area. He also goes on to say, the chief deputy, Mark Parrish, said this is the most heartbreaking and bizarre cases in his 30 years of service. Investigators, and I know you don't like this word, allege that Franklin, 33 years old, shot at Cauthen and the driver without warning as they approached the driveway of a nearby home. The driver was also armed and returned fire, injuring Franklin. Chief Cauthen attempted to cross the street but collapsed in a ditch and succumbed to his injuries before the deputies arrived.
It's just crazy.
It is.
I couldn't have made it without the volunteer firemen back when I worked the street. Every time there was a vehicle crash, whatever, if it was on a state road, we called the state police to come work it. If it was a parish road, we had to work it. And I hated working accidents, period. But they would show up, they would direct traffic, they do all the stuff that, just good people trying to be good citizens, good Samaritans and help. And, you just don't know what you're walking into.
No.
Yeah. It just, I don't understand it, but it happens and evil is everywhere. So, well, we do a lot of stories that have some aspect of mental health involved. And I'm going to tell you about a mom who, well, I could do this as a worldwide crime or whatever. A mom and a pair of siblings disappeared from Ohio in October. Okay. And well, the two children, ages 8 and 9, were reported missing to Canton, Ohio police by a family member on October 25th. And this is according to the U.S. Marshals. According to the missing persons report, the children, whose names have not been publicly named for obvious reasons, being juveniles, but they disappeared after their mom stopped taking her mental health medication, right? So the 34-year-old woman, that word allegedly, she did. The 34-year-old woman abandoned her apartment and the children stopped showing up at school. Investigators initially tracked the children to Denver, Colorado, and later learned the woman and her children traveled to London, England, according to U.S. Marshals.
Okay.
Police then tracked them to the island of Jersey in the English Channel, more than 200 miles south of London. The woman then took the children to a remote fishing village in Iceland, more than 2,500 miles from that island. I mean, I don't know.
Those aren't
she was
cheap
living in an
things to-
apartment.
right.
I know. She's living in an apartment, and now she's a worldwide traveler with her
With her
kids.
children.
So that the name of that village hadn't been released, but local Icelandic authorities ultimately found the children at a motel in the capital city of Reykjavik. Right. And
That's
then
wild.
it's crazy. They just, I guess it's a crime. The father got denied the children or whatever, but you just
Stop taking
your medicine and what?
Well, so many people start taking medicine, and I'm guilty of taking medicine over the years and then start to feel better and then say, oh, I don't need that.
Absolutely. I've done it myself.
But I haven't gone on a worldwide, like
snatch your kids
exactly.
Up, how do you pay for all that too?
I know.
And just go, and evidently she had her passports. I don't know
But do you have to have?
You have to have some sanity to be able to go and do whatever.
Well, you have to, but don't you have to have, like, if you're divorced parents, have to have the other parents sign off for travel?
They should. Maybe that dude's
They didn't have
I don't know.
Maybe they just didn't have a custody thing.
Maybe so.
Well,
But
if you don't have one parent, you need to get one of those.
They're safe now. That's what matters.
Thank goodness they're safe. I mean, she could have left. What did they do?
I don't know. I mean, they're worldwide travelers now.
They are worldwide travelers.
Worldwide travelers.
I mean, I could say, I remember a story not a story, but when my mom's boyfriend's father was best friends with John Wayne. Like they were childhood best friends. And that's when we went to stay at John Wayne's house in Acapulco at Christmas. And my grandmother, my mom's mom, when we all got like to Houston from Acapulco, she went her way because she lived in Jackson, Mississippi, and we got on our plane and went to Baton Rouge. Well, she got on her Jackson, Mississippi plane and she loved herself some Bloody Marys, and she never got off, and she ended up in Washington State.
That's funny. You missed it.
And nobody ever tried to get her off the plane.
Back then, they didn't have the computer systems and TSA, and there was that was pre-9/11. You could smoke on the plane. And I'm sure she was having a good time.
I'm sure she was.
Until she realized I'm in Washington State, not Mississippi. Jackson,
literally,
Mississippi.
they were like, ma'am, this is the end of our thing. She's like, okay. And she's like, whatever. And they're like, you're in Washington State.
Yeah. Miss Jackson, Mississippi.
So you don't do that going through different countries.
I don't know.
You don't just accidentally stay on a plane.
Well, there you have it.
You want to go to New York?
New York City.
This is a great injustice because school systems, you know, we pay a lot of taxes for our schools, and a lot of that money isn't spent on our children and the students. You know, it goes to other things, and of course it goes to teacher salaries and stuff like that. But I think it's like a very small amount that dollars spent per year on student, like what they're allocated versus what they spend.
Okay.
So it's always a topic of discussion in school budgets. But 2 New York school officials are accused of spending $50,000 of a fund for at-risk students on jewelry and handbags.
Nice. They went pimping.
Yeah. So Oliver Levy and Surendra Kumar were charged at Westchester County Court on Wednesday, January 22nd. They are 2 top officials at a school in New York. They, of course, were caught, you know, using the at-risk funds for their personal items. So on Wednesday, January 22nd, the Westchester County District Attorney announced that 2 former officials at Greenberg Graham Union Free School District, which serves at-risk students from kindergarten to 12th grade, had been charged with multiple public corruption offenses after $50,000 of school money was spent on items such as jewelry and luxury handbags. According to the felony complaint, the school district's former superintendent, Oliver Levy, and former security systems specialist, Surendra Kumar, purchased 168 gift cards.
Nice.
And instead of spending the full sum of these funds on obviously school-related expenses, the defendants are accused of diverting over $50,000 from the gift cards to personal expenses. I've mentioned the jewelry and the luxury handbags, but also private school fees for relatives and vet services.
Yeah, you spread the wealth.
Right? At least they weren't selfish with it, right? Levy, who is 55 years old, and Kumar, who's 48, are charged with 2nd-degree and 3rd-degree grand larceny as crimes of public corruption, along with 2nd-degree and 3rd-degree grand larceny and corrupting the government in the 2nd and 3rd degree. The top charge, 2nd-degree grand larceny as a crime of public corruption, carries a maximum potential sentence of 8 to 25 years in prison. They were arrested in May of 2024, but both pleaded not guilty to the charges. And then,
did they get the handbags and jewelry and stuff back?
So it says that Levy began working at a school as a teaching assistant in 2008 and was promoted to superintendent in 2018. It does not say anything about
I'm sure
where
whatever
they got, what they got
they
back.
had to have some where they had receipts where they got it. They purchased shit and all that. Mine was that lady that was head of whatever food service for Chicago, and she ordered $1.5 million worth of chicken wings and sold them.
Yeah.
And I mean, she's going to prison, and the player for the Chiefs offered to pay the $1.5 million.
Yeah.
So, I mean, whatever.
Well, what's sad is this school, like I said, it serves at-risk students, but they have emotional disabilities, autism spectrum disorders, health impairments, learning disabilities, speech, language impairment, multiple disabilities, and more. I mean, they're taking from, any student they're taking from.
Yeah,
Any misuse of funds
right.
is, and I know you remember me as a teacher. How much did I spend on my classroom for my students?
A lot.
And not one penny came from the school, Yeah,
it was our shit. I get it. And so shame on them. And you know what they are? It's time for Effed Up Professionals. You want to set your child up for success? Is your child struggling with a specific subject, or do they need a challenge to keep them engaged? IXL Learning is an online learning program that enriches your homeschool curriculum. It offers practice in math, English, language arts, science, and social studies, and adapts to each child, meeting them at their personal level. As a homeschool parent, I can tell you that IXL has been life-saving for my son, WL. He uses IXL every day, and it allows me to tailor his learning experience based on his specific skills, not just his grade level. If he needs support, IXL finds his current level and helps him build up to where he needs to be. And in areas where he's advanced, IXL propels him forward without any setbacks. What I love most is that IXL uses visuals in its questions and lessons, which really helps WL learn math and science better since he is a visual learner. The interactive practice problems and educational games make learning fun and engaging. With IXL, school is a positive, fun experience. WL enjoys earning awards in the educational games. IXL is trusted by 15 million students worldwide and has proven to improve performance in over 75 scientific research studies. Make an impact on your child's learning. Get IXL now. Real Life, Real Crime listeners can receive an exclusive 20% off IXL membership when they sign up today at IXL.com/today. Visit IXL.com/today to access the most effective learning program at the best price. Are you feeling overwhelmed by hormonal changes? I know Cyndi was, and if you're a woman, you're definitely not alone. There are more than 1,000 hormone disruptors living rent-free in our environment right now, found in our food, water, and even in our skincare products. These disruptors can wreak havoc on our hormones. Believe me, before Hormone Harmony, I watched Cyndi suffer. Not anymore. Hormone Harmony's formula, made only with herbal ingredients, have reduced Cyndi's hormonal symptoms, and it helps women of all ages. Then there are the natural hormonal changes our bodies face, such as menopause. While these processes are part of life, they don't have to be uncomfortable. The good news is that you don't have to suffer through it any longer. Hormone Harmony contains science-backed herbal extracts known as adaptogens, designed to help the body cope with stressors, including those chaotic hormonal fluctuations that can disrupt your daily life. Whether it's PMS symptoms like irritability and cravings, or menopause symptoms such as hot flashes and night sweats, Hormone Harmony can help with it all. Happy Mammoth, the creator of Hormone Harmony, is dedicated to improving women's lives by using only high-quality science-backed ingredients. They make no compromises on quality, ensuring that you receive the best support possible. This isn't just a supplement, it has become a phenomenon. Women are talking about it everywhere, with a bottle of Hormone Harmony sold every 24 seconds. And the most important benefit, women express feeling like themselves again. A sentiment echoed in over 30,000 positive reviews. For a limited time, you can get 15% off your entire first order at happymammoth.com. Just use the code RLRC at checkout. That's happymammoth.com. Don't forget to use the code RLRC for 15% off today. Well, shame on them. And bad part is they'll probably only get probation. All right, let me take you this is a little bit disturbing, but it proves that evil exists. So this girl, Drexel, who's 17, was kidnapped, raped, and murdered while visiting Myrtle Beach, South Carolina on a spring break trip in 2009. Stick with me.
Okay.
So a guy named Raymond Moody says his longtime girlfriend, Angel Cooper Voss, was involved in his plot to kidnap, rape, and murder the 17-year-old Brittany Drexel in 2009. And he's a convicted killer, but this is what he told the feds. Moody, who's now 64, was sentenced to life in prison in 2022 for raping and murdering Drexel while she was visiting Myrtle Beach. Now the killer claims Voss, his 56-year-old longtime girlfriend, was not only present at the time of Drexel's killing, but she was an integral part of the plot to kidnap and rape her. Moody made the bombshell revelation during an interview with the FBI in November of 2024 at the Lieber Correctional Institute in Ridgeville, where he's being held. Moody told investigators that Voss helped lure Drexel to their vehicle by acting as tourists who were lost and offering her a ride home. All right? Look at her.
Oh,
17 years old.
geez.
Look at these idiots. I know y'all can't see it, but Cindy can put it up.
Wow.
So this is what happened. So the killer goes on and it says that Voss held onto their vehicle steering wheel while he restrained Drexel and helped lead her to a tent they had set up in the pole yard boat landing in Georgetown near their apartment. So it's like they set it up for a killing ring.
Literally.
Voss would then go get the keys to their apartment and instructed Moody not to rape Drexel until she got back. Moody claimed he and Voss previously agreed to rape Drexel together, with it being Voss's idea the night before to go out and hunt for a young woman that they could kidnap. Moody said in his interview with investigators that Voss had texted him the night before asking to go hunting with her boyfriend. Now, the convicted killer, who had previously served 21 years in jail for raping and beating an 8-year-old girl.
See,
and then he got out. It's fucked up.
That is.
But he told investigators that he didn't recall Voss taking part this before. And he gave the statement.
Right.
He didn't recall Voss taking part in Drexel's rape, but that she was present in the tent during the attack. Now, Moody also said that Voss wasn't aware of his plan to kill Drexel, although she was in the tent during the killing and didn't attempt to stop him. Moody told investigators he had strangled Drexel with a nylon rope before stabbing her through the heart with an ice pick.
Oh, my.
Right? He said then that he buried Drexel's body alone because he was concerned Voss was going to tell authorities about the murder. Now, WCIV-TV reported that Moody made the revelations to authorities in a deal to ensure part of his property to remain in a trust for Voss's grandchildren. Whatever. Moody emphasized that he is telling the truth not to be spiteful to Voss, but because he wants to take care of his grandchildren, as FBI investigators wrote in the document. Voss was arrested last month on 3 counts of making false statements to the FBI, and she pled not guilty to all 3 counts. And that's crazy. But that dude's sitting up there for a while. He's probably like, that bitch is out.
Yeah.
And I'm doing the time.
And I'm doing it. Yeah.
And they didn't get that 17-year-old in a tent and rape her. And he didn't do it by himself. So I believe he's telling the truth.
Which is another case that you feel like someone's going to say something along those lines when the death sentence comes. You think that they're going to confess to a lot more.
And a lot of them do.
Yeah.
They'll be like, sorry, I did that. Let me get the rest of it off my chest before you kill me.
Yeah. But you also say like that people get older and their mindsets change when you're young and dumb and you don't have a family and
then you get older and you have the guilt up and you're thinking, oh shit, it could have been my kid.
Right.
And I'm going to go ahead and tell what I know.
Yeah. So that all plays into that. But all I was thinking about when you read that was evil does exist. And I was thinking even when, and you do this too, when we shoot a deer, the first thing we do is give thanks. Yeah. And I kneel down and give thanks to a deer that's going to nourish our bodies.
Yeah, well, these people they went hunting.
They did.
They weren't going deer hunting.
Yeah.
They weren't going hog hunting. They went hunting to rape and murder.
They were nourishing their evil, which is sick, like a vampire. It's disgusting. Disgusting. We'll go some more disgusting.
Well, that's true crime. That's pretty much not a crime. That's not bad.
We're going to talk about 2 young women who are dead of overdoses. And a Hollywood producer has been charged with the double murder.
There you go.
So a model named Christy Giles was 24 years old, and Hilda Cabrales Arzola, which they don't give her age, died after a night out in Los Angeles in 2021. In 2021, with her husband visiting family in San Francisco, the Los Angeles-based model Christy Giles was looking forward to a girls' night out with her friend, who was an interior designer and architect, which was Hilda Cabrales Arzola. On November 12th, 2021, Giles and Cabrales Arzola started out at Soho House in West Hollywood. And Soho House is, a big, it's where the people will go. Like if you're in the in crowd, that's where you want to be seen at.
You must have seen that on Beverly Hills.
I did. That's my reference.
Yeah, I figured.
Before moving on at 1 a.m. to an all-night dance party at a East LA warehouse where their favorite DJ was playing.
Yeah, sounds like a rave.
Sounds like a rave to me. Upbeat and fun-loving Giles knew how to live in the moment. Her husband, Jan Cilliers, who was a visual effects supervisor, has stated. Just before 5 a.m., the women headed to Olympic Boulevard to an apartment of 2 men they met at the warehouse, presumably to keep the party going.
Right. Yeah.
Well, one of them's married. She has no business going over there, but I'm not going to shame her. So
Yeah, you don't shame dead people.
That's what I'm saying. I'm not going to. Something seemed amiss when they got there. Christy and Hilda tried to leave, and they called an Uber. And whatever happened in the following 12 hours left them dead. Exactly what transpired at the after party is the key question being asked at the trial of the 2 men they met. One of the men was aspiring producer David Pierce and his roommate actor Brant Osborne. During opening arguments
Pretty sure if you're a successful producer, you don't have a roommate.
I would have to agree. Well, I mean, OJ was successful and he had Kato.
Not in his house.
During opening arguments in an LA courtroom on January 9th, prosecutors claimed Pierce gave the women a lethal mix of drugs, including cocaine and fentanyl, and in Giles's case, the date rape drug GHB, before dropping the women off barely alive with Osborne at separate LA hospitals.
So they knew they OD'd.
Yes. So Giles was pronounced dead of an overdose at the hospital, and Cabrales Arzola clung to life for more than a week, dying of multiple organ failure the day before her 27th birthday.
Sad.
Pierce is charged with murder, and Osborne is charged with being an accessory to the crime after the fact for helping transport the victims to the hospital, but has pleaded not guilty.
Where they got him at is they took him to 2 separate hospitals, which means they didn't want them to be connected, which means they knew they fucked up.
And it says, while prosecutors told jurors the women died because of drugs Pierce gave them. And Pierce's defense attorney, Jeff Vall, argued that the women were responsible for their own deaths. The evidence will show that these young ladies unfortunately ingested fentanyl and they died, but not at the hands of Mr. Osborne or Mr. Pierce. Uneasy text exchanges between the women shed light on their last moments, prosecutors say. So at 5:30 a.m., 20 minutes after arriving at the apartment.
That's another reason he's not a successful producer. He has a roommate and they live in an apartment. He's no Steven Spielberg.
No. Giles texted Cabrales Arzola and she said, let's go, with the wide-eyed emoji. Like she already was like.
It's sketchy.
Yeah. And then at 5:31, she responded Gabrielis Arzola responded, "Yes, I'll call an Uber 10 minutes away." Doorbell videos show the Uber leaving empty when nobody came to claim it.
They were like, we're leaving, and they didn't like that.
And then photographer Michael Ansbach was at the apartment that morning and says that Pierce gave him and 2 women alcoholic drinks and cocaine laced with fentanyl. This is what the prosecution is saying. Even though the women had consumed alcohol and drugs before getting there, prosecutor says that Pierce gave them more at the apartment, which ultimately killed them. Apparently, Pierce said to his roommate, "Dead girls don't talk."
Yep, that's true.
So at 5 p.m. on November 13th, 2021, nearly 12 hours after the women got to the apartment, Pierce and Osborne dropped Giles off at the hospital, saying they were good Samaritans who found her unconscious on the curb.
Yeah.
2 hours later, Gabrielis Arzola was left at Mid-City Hospital by the same 2 men. And, obviously people are still grieving, and this is just the beginning of the battle, the husband said, and even no amount of justice is ever going to bring her back. Hopefully it stops these guys from doing anything else to any other women.
Yeah, and it goes on. It's pretty common nowadays for, when I worked the street, we didn't have all the overdose shit. They were working like 10 or 12 a day, a shift. But I do remember we had 3 young boys. I say young boys, they were teenagers who died from taking what was it? It was morphine patches, and they were chewing them up. Or no, it was oxys. Anyway, they died on a very, very cold night in the truck when they were found the next day after the party. It had been like a bonfire, and they just all fell asleep and quit breathing. That's what happens. But we charged the guy that actually sold them the oxys. And technically, if he hadn't done it, they wouldn't have been dead. So then a lot of people are getting charged now, the dope dealers that sell this fentanyl, and they're getting charged, and rightfully so, because they wouldn't have been dead. Even if they made the decision to do the cocaine,
free will,
fentanyl, but you gave it to them.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just really, it's just everywhere now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so hopefully they'll get a conviction for something. So, and his movie career is over.
Yeah.
I don't know. I do not like a sex offender, right?
Right.
And a convicted sex offender should never be around children. But Don Stephen McDougal was charged with capital murder in Audrey Cunningham's killing in February of 2024. See, he's from Texas, and he admitted to kidnapping and killing the 11-year-old Audrey, right, who was found dead in a river nearly a year ago after she briefly went missing. Now, they said Don Stephen McDougal has accepted responsibility for his actions in the kidnapping and murder of Audrey Cunningham, and will spend the rest of his life in prison without the possibility of parole or appeal in this court in the Polk County DA's office. And it was announced on Friday, January 17th. So I'm, kind of hard for me to believe that the state of Texas wouldn't kill a motherfucker. He must have copped the plea and made it easier on the family. But McDougal was charged with capital murder on February 21st, a day after Audrey's body was found tied to rocks in the Trinity River, about 76 miles from her home in Livingston, Texas. Isn't that crazy?
That is hard.
Audrey was a 5th grade student. Fifth grade student, and was reported missing after she did not show up to school on February the 15th. Dr. Brent Hawkins, the superintendent of Livingston Independent School District in Texas, said that McDougal had brought her to school as recently as 3 days before her disappearance. Yeah, so this is not a snatch and grab.
No.
So I'm going to listen to this. At Friday's hearing, Audrey's family members fondly remembered the slain girl and spoke about their feelings of betrayal by McDougal. She gave my family purpose, and you stole that from me, Audrey's father, Josh Cunningham, said, "You took away the life of our little angel. Your punishment in this life will never fit the crime." And her grandmother, Tabitha Munch, said that and said, "Nothing will ever bring her back. And that's your fault. May you rot in hell." Now, Audrey's grandfather, Philip Munchild, said McDougal was a monster pretending to be her friend who violated her trust. Look, why in the fuck would you let somebody, I mean, I'll just continue.
Yeah.
It just fucking blows my mind. Philip added that Audrey was a talented and happy child who brightened the lives of all around her. So in a statement last week, the DA's office said McDougal was determined to be ineligible for the death penalty due to a state law that limits its use for anyone with significant documented intellectual and developmental disabilities.
Oh, gosh.
That's if their IQ is so low.
Yeah, but he can play Don.
Yeah, but the thing is, Sin, and this is what get it, and we're not victim shaming or whatever, but he was a previous sex offender, and the family entrusted the care of 11-year-old Audrey to him.
But did they know he was a previous sex offender?
Right.
I mean, you don't walk around with a scarlet letter, like when you're, as you should, though. You should have it tattooed on your forehead.
Well, you know what? I don't know if they knew it or not, and I'm not throwing shame on them, but it takes back to Gerald Bordelon's case. And Courtney's mama, they lived in Mississippi. CPS or whatever it is, Mississippi went to her and said, he is a convicted child rapist.
Yeah, she didn't care.
Not do. And you know what she did? She moved to Livingston Parish.
Yeah.
So Mississippi couldn't mess with them.
Yeah.
Right. And so she knew.
Yeah.
And
she was a nurse.
Yeah. And she knew. And ultimately he raped and murdered Courtney and left her on the riverbank, right? This same river that runs behind our house.
Yeah.
And I mean, it is what it is.
Well,
but
also,
I don't know how you let this dude, let me show you this guy. You let this dude trick you into fucking thinking that he is going to be good for you.
No,
I mean, he looks like the devil and the prison tats and everything else.
Yeah.
And look at this sweet baby.
That's hard. I mean, that's
hard. I hate that for the family. And I really hate that the state of Texas can't kill him because he's evidently thrown it off. But fuck him. Why you got to tie the little 11-year-old to rocks? She already raped and killed her.
I don't know. Yeah. Well, again,
Jared Bordelon told me straight up. He said, if I get out, I'm going to do it again.
Yeah.
And he was the nicest dude. You could sit there and talk to him like this and just, hey, Mr. Woody, how are you doing? Every time I'd bring somebody in the book, and his cell was right there. He was very well spoken, nice looking guy, straight the fuck up. He also was the last person put to death in the state of Louisiana. And he also waived all his appeals in the death penalty case.
Yeah.
And said they had to execute him. But the state of Louisiana spent X amount, probably a year and a half, trying to prove that he was sane enough to make the decision that he wanted to be executed.
Right. Yeah.
Whatever.
But I also was thinking about, and I'll boom this out if you want me to, but the Catholic Church just moving, people, they get complaints about priests and they move them from place to place. They know what they're doing, and they're raping and molesting kids, and they just get moved to another parish and then another parish. And
yeah, that was way back when. Hopefully they have systems in place. I'm sure some people still abuse their position, but that guy, obviously, he probably sat, 21 years for raping an 8-year-old. You do that in Louisiana. Technically under 12, and now I think it's 13, you can get the death penalty. But he got out. So he sat around in his cell and fantasized about that little 8-year-old girl that he did all those years. And then he got out and he had a master plan. Mm-hmm. He ingratiated himself to this family on whatever level we don't know, like David and Christina Constance, and did to all those families, and just to get them their trust, and hey, let us take them for the weekend and we'll feed them, because they couldn't afford to feed their own kids. And they weren't bad people, just salted earth. And just like this monster, they groomed their victims and then
That shows me some sense of intelligence. If you can manipulate and groom,
I agree with you on that. But evidently, they got him documented that he's twisted or throw it off or whatever. His IQ was too low. Louisiana has it too. I can't remember exactly what it is, but if you test under whatever, they think it's inhumane to put you to death.
That makes no sense. It's humane to let you continue to do what you do.
Well, I mean, he's going to spend the rest of his life in prison.
He should have spent the rest of his life in prison before.
I agree. And then Audrey would be alive.
It's disgusting.
It's the way, it's just fucking evil.
But like you said, this is the best system that
Absolutely the best system in the world. But it's not perfect.
No.
Or if it was perfect, you and I wouldn't be talking about true crime.
Right.
There would be an effective deterrent.
Exactly.
But there is no effective deterrent. So there will always be crime.
I think having some type of morals and some type of respect is an effective deterrent.
You think that motherfucker has any morals or any respect?
I just don't know how I don't think like a criminal. So. Yeah.
Well, they're there. They exist. Heaven is real also.
Heaven is very real.
But hell is hot.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of motherfuckers that got to dance with the devil one day.
Yeah.
A lot of people. Yeah, I always said this. Prisons are full of dummies. It's hard to catch the smart ones. There's a lot of motherfuckers walk amongst us. And you went to Walmart today. I bet you at least one person you passed in there was some type of rapist.
I bet.
Or a killer.
Yeah.
That's never going to get caught. Like that guy from Hawaii. Got away with it for 50 fucking years.
But the difference is, I guess, is that I always say this, and I hope people don't get frustrated because I always talk about my dad, but it was such a major influence in my life. I look at everybody and I, know the potential that they have. Yeah. And I mean, so yes, at Walmart today, I could probably tell you every person that I saw, like that, where I was. And most people just walk around blind to that and aren't aware
of the phone and all that. That's because their lives haven't been touched by evil yet.
Yeah.
Hopefully it never will be.
I hate that you had to use the word yet with that sentence. Yep. Yeah.
Well, it's true.
It is true.
But that's it. We love and appreciate each and every one of y'all. # Justice for Haley. Go listen to it, share it. It is such a tragedy of justice.
Well, they don't even know everything yet.
No, but that's what I'm saying. Go listen to it. Go listen to it.
Yeah.
It's really pathetic.
If you think it's bad, we'll just wait.
Yeah, it's really pathetic. And then that's another family that's having to live through it.
Yeah.
So with that, that's all I got.
Okay. That's all I got.
And I'm Woody Overton.
I'm Cyndi Overton.
Your host of True Crime Time for Taco Tuesday. I'll watch you tomorrow. Peace.